Welcome everyone to a special bonus episode of Crit Faced. We are actually quickly approaching our 2-year anniversary, and we wanted to chime in so that the Crit Faced players could step out behind the D&D facades that they wear and have a wee chat about how they're doing, how they're feeling about the show so far. Just before we begin, we should mention that we are recording this on the 5th of April, 2020, and those of you in the future, if you refer to your history textbooks, you will see that we're actually in the middle of a global pandemic at the moment. So we're aware that obviously it's going on and it can be quite a quite a stressful, concerning situation for many across the world. We had a wee chat before we started recording, and we're not really going to address that aspect of things today, just because we feel that people are probably quite sick of hearing about that at the moment, and we're looking for a wee bit of escapism in their lives. So instead, we are going to, in the seclusion of our own homes, just have a look back over happier times. Guys, does anyone want to add anything to that before we start?
Well, I think that the show definitely peaked. There was one specific moment.
All right. We're going straight into this. Right, okay.
Yeah, no, it's a harsh truth. I think it's just been downhill.
Rolling downhill ever since.
Yes. yeah. Ever since our esteemed barbarian finally came, forth with his real interests in life. When rummaging about the Vistani's underwear drawer, and got caught. And then instead of saying mea culpa and just being a man about it, what did he do? Did he punch her in the face?
No, I used my axe.
Oh, your axe, right.
He cut her pretty deeply. Yeah.
Right to the gut.
Right to the gut, and then leapt out the window. And then we've been on the run ever since.
For some reason, strained relationships with Vistani ever since. I don't know.
I was like, that's really us peaking there in terms of ingenuity, character development, raw vulnerability, everything.
It was evocative. It painted a scene, which is like, as storytellers, that's what we're always going for.
Yeah. Unscripted. It was brilliant. It was brilliant riffing on the moment. I wouldn't have thought to do it. That's why I bowed it.
Excellent. Okay, does anyone else have a moment from the show that has been their highlight?
One of my favorites. Yes, I had spent months and months practicing this song as Jean Mallarmé. I was going to sing finally my song, "The Monkey Steals the Master's Hat," and somehow I was caught off guard by the DM of all people stealing my thunder and performing it as a character within the story. And I still haven't forgiven him because I had a 3-part harmony worked out, and all for naught. All for naught.
I guess that's a lesson to any D&D players out there, is to not broadcast your bard song on Twitter a few weeks before you're actually planning on performing it in the actual game.
Cried for days.
Tim, what about you? Do you have a moment that has been a highlight for you?
I can't choose. There's so many. I always love the. It's actually some of the best moments were it's like our DM versus the bar. Like I live for those moments. Especially I love the whole fortune teller face off where Madame Eva and Madame Rousseau sort of went at each.
Classic.
I feel like I walked away the victor. Like it was close, but I think I won that round.
But I also love a barbarian who is just these awesome like Arnold one-line. in the most appropriate moments. It's
always.
Like that's comedic timing, and I love that. That's really great. And I don't know. There's so many good moments. I don't know.
What about David? Do you have anything that stands out for you?
Oh, where do I start? I think one thing enjoyed the most is our groups.
Wee second.
Clearly
Wee second.
setting
Sorry,
out
David.
to get to the point
David,
and,
sorry.
and going with
David,
it, like the time where we debated for
stop,
about
David.
call and
no, he can't hear us.
bottle or going
David,
a different aspect of the
David.
particular interest of Strahd.
David.
Oh, God. Who's going to tell him? Who's
I
going
don't
tell
want
him?
to.
That's the DM's job. DM's job.
That's not fair. Hello, David. How are you doing?
I think you'll have to do that again because your internet's really, really bad. And
we
heard like every second word, and that was it.
You can't
Sorry.
hear us.
Try switching it on and off.
I don't
Okay,
think
let me. I'm going to get and back off.
Oh no!
Hang on, just 1 sec.
This is vintage crit faced here.
This is it.
The show is all about.
Yeah.
For some reason, like 4 time zones and several continents make this difficult. Who could have guessed?
Do you know what, actually? But this is something I might keep this in because this is something that the listeners, have never, because we tend to cut any of these moments out, so they won't have experienced this before. We get this a lot though. So although I might cut this bit because this is going to get boring. Hi, David. How are you doing?
Is that any better?
So much better.
Much better.
So
okay.
Hopefully you didn't start at all, but you were about to tell us about your favorite moment because we didn't get any of that. Sorry.
Well, not a particular moment, but just our group's decisiveness, clear thinking, our targeting of an objective and going right for it.
Problem
we
solvers.
don't dilly-dally. We don't sit there and wringing our hands over decisions for hours on end. Like, for instance, when we debated for 4 hours whether to go after Baba Lysaga or a particular source of interest for Strahd, who we were told in a prophecy would be able to help us.
And that prophecy, I have to say, we've done a really good job about remembering that and sticking to that plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Talk about a roadmap.
We followed it to a T.
Wow.
But what about you, Benedict? The DM has to have a favorite moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, quite a few have stood out. I just like, and I've gone on record saying this before. I like how much character seems to matter when playing with you guys, because I played in D&D groups before where it's very much been played, like a board game or a strategy game, and people are trying to do the most efficient, go for the most efficient routes and stuff like that. And you guys don't do that.
What? This is our speed run.
But in particular, I love it when you guys end up doing stuff that you shouldn't do, but
What?
but it suits your characters. And I definitely it's Master Sonna in the winery. I think typifies that more than anything.
Well, yeah.
Because I mean, it was like a car crash in slow motion, but it absolutely felt perfect. And I think
that time we were gonna burn those 4 vampire coffins, preceded by a delectable 3-hour conversation, and then we did nothing that we planned and just ran in there and fell in the coffins.
Yeah. Well, I think that ties in more with what David was talking about. and actually, going back on the decision making, though, I thought that was something new. I thought that was something that had only been popping up recently, as you're out and about on the road, kept forking. But because we're rejigging the start of the show at the moment, and we're trying to give listeners a better episode to start on. Some of us have been listening to the earlier episodes, and honestly, you guys have been like that the whole way through. It's like very much here's a basic decision, and
Killer
half an
instincts.
episode later.
I know you're a lucky DM.
No.
You get to sit back quite a lot.
Yeah, well, I do, and that is definitely one of the benefits of just having.
If you could, I wonder if you could measure the word count of everyone who speaks. I bet, Benedict would actually be 1/5 the rest of us.
Well, I can think of at least 2 of you that would overshadow me.
David. Always going off.
I don't know why, but the name Jean Marleman came to mind.
Listen, guys, just before we sign off, now we can't give away what's happening at the moment because we are recording this a bit ahead of what people are going to listen to when this bonus episode is going out. But do you guys have any predictions for what you think might end up happening in the campaign?
Oh, like who's going to die first?
Okay, we could do that.
Okay. It's definitely going to be Jean. Jean is going to die first. It's not going to be pretty. He's going to complain for 15 minutes, so just prepare yourself. I have a whole eulogy written for myself. He's going to be Jean.
Okay.
I actually think it's the opposite. I think Jean's like practically unkillable. Like you could drop a burning house on him, and then the front door would open, and he'd stagger out, being like just like really upset, but like unhurt. I don't think he can die. Which why we should send him into Strahd's castle alone, because he's the only person who would survive anyway.
Interesting premise. So I'm going to also be betrayed by my friends. That's the other thing, obviously.
Inevitable.
David, any thoughts? What do you think is going to be the outcome?
Oh, I think we're all going to die.
Bleak?
I don't think... Because I think you're actively trying to do that.
Yeah, it's my job.
We're all going to die. Maybe this episode. Maybe just during the bonus episode.
I like it. Tim, do you any thoughts on an outcome?
Well, and I have an elaborate theory, but I don't know how much the listeners have already heard by now. So
the episode this is going to go out with is going to be fighting in the cabbage patch.
And we already had the episode where we talked to the obviously that was last week, the abbot. So so there are two things that have been weighing on my mind, and the thing about killing Strahd is because this is what Master Sana wants to do, right? She wants to rid the world of evil. But and that would mean obviously killing Strahd. But as far as we know, he has some kind of mystical connection to the actual land of Barovia. And so I'm sort of thinking of, well, what if we actually sort of come face to face with Strahd, and the thing is that we can't actually kill him because he is the land. So you can't like destroy the country. But what if one of us would have to take his place? And I will become a dark and terrible queen, stronger than the foundations of the...
So we gotta kill Master Sana pretty quick.
Hey, and I call the Stone Sword. I like that theory. I like it.
Well, I guess it's time for us to go and roll some dice and hopefully get a little bit closer to finding out if anyone was right. And just before we do go, those of you who are listening, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
A lot of fun interacting with everyone so far. We are considering doing this a wee bit more often, just having wee bonus episodes where we can chat, where you can get to spend a tiny bit of time with the players as opposed to the characters. If you have any questions you would like us to have a wee chat about or have a go answering, please do consider sending them to crew@critfacedpodcast.com, and I'll put the link to our email address in the show notes. But otherwise, thank you very much, and I will hope you stick with us and enjoy wherever this madcap adventure is going. I guess that's it.
And cut.